Hi guys, hope you are doing incredibly well. So I wanted to speak to you about a book that's changed my life. Now do me a favor, if you're interested in making money in any sense, whether it's in your corporate job, whether it's as an entrepreneur, whether it's as a manager, then please listen up, because this book has added at least 6 figures to my income. You're looking at a way to change your situation. One thing you've got to do is get in the habit of reading. Books are your informal mentors. These are your ability or your way to get into the head of someone that's probably no longer alive, but you get to understand their perspective, or someone that you couldn't afford to pay to be your mentor. They've written books, and that's your informal way of learning from them. So please pay attention as I break down the book that's pretty much changed my life. Some of you will know I speak about this book all the time because I genuinely believe in the power of this book. And the book is called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, by a man called Robert Cialdini. Now I suggest every single person pause this video right now, run on Amazon and pick up this book. No, I don't get any commission, or I don't get paid for advertising this book. I genuinely want the best for you, and I want you to transform your life, and that's why I run around preaching about this book. In fact, I talk more about this book than any of my own books. So, number one, the Psychology of Persuasion. If you want to increase your income, if you want to change your circumstance, you've got to understand that your money lies in your ability to move people to action. It means your money, your future, your goal lies in your ability to persuade someone or influence someone to work with you. So you might be looking for a business partner. You've got to put the right foot forward. You've got to be able to sell your idea. You've got to be able to communicate your values effectively and be able to influence. If you're looking to raise funds for your startup, you've got to be able to influence the investors. If you're looking to raise money for your development, if you're in property, then you've got to be able to influence. Influence is the key. Now, influence doesn't mean to force. It means to skillfully persuade. So I'm suggesting, if you are looking for a book that's going to transform your life and improve and increase your income, then pick up this book straight away. So Robert Cialdini spends years writing 6 principles that you need to understand that will dramatically improve your life. Number one, he talks about my favorite term, and for the people that have known me for the last 4 or 5 years, all I keep drumming on and talking about is this concept of reciprocity. That's the first thing, reciprocity. Now, I'm not going to do them in any specific order. I'm just going to talk about them as they come to my head. Reciprocity is number one. Reciprocity means giving to someone, and it creates a moral obligation for them to give back. One of the reasons why I love this, and this is one of the things that I coach people on, is give everything away. Completely, give it all away. Because with the concept of reciprocity, it means it creates a moral obligation for that person to give back to you. So why would you be afraid to give so much value? Because the currency in 2019 and 2020 and going forward is value. So if you lead with value, if you lead with the idea of I'm giving because that's value, then guess what happens? You will get it back. You look at it from a Christian point of view, you might understand sowing and reaping. There's causation, there's cause and effect, there's yin and yang. It means if you give, it must come back to you. So focus your attention on giving. That's one way you add more money to your income. So number two, likability. Now this is something that I toy around with, although I've fully dedicated myself to understanding and implementing things in this book. The second one I want to give you my opinion on. So I come from a sales background, and most people teach you that for people to buy from you, they must love you, they must like you, and that's not necessarily true once you understand another concept that Robert talks about as well. But I'll talk about that later on. So number two is likability. People like to buy from themselves. There's a saying by, I think it was Benjamin Franklin, that says, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So it means focus on giving the attention that's needed for your client or whoever you're working with, your investor, your family members, whoever you're trying to influence. Make sure they like you. But as I said, there is a small caveat on that, which is Coming from the sales background, I've also understood that many people will buy from people that they deem to be an authority figure. So that's another concept in which Robert talks about in the book, authority. So for example, we are influenced if we see a police car behind us, whether you're guilty or not, your heart starts to race. If you see someone with a luminous jacket, an orange or a yellow jacket, automatically you ascribe some sort of authority to that person. And how you can implement that in your business is by showing your credentials. It's by leading with your credentials. It's by letting people know that you are an expert and showing them that you are an expert and proving that you are an expert. And that builds your authority in front of them as well. So another one that he talks about is social proof, and I love this. Once you understand how powerful social proof is, you start to implement it to every facet of your life. So social proof is all about being able to show people and demonstrate to people that they are not the first person to take a gamble with you. So that comes in the sense of reviews. If we look at people like Amazon have paid so much attention to ensuring that their reviews are a prominent part of their website. Because if you go on Amazon and you're about to purchase something, you look at the reviews first and you look for the general consensus that says, hey, this is a fantastic product. Therefore, that sways you to buy because 5,000 other people can't be wrong. Okay, look at eBay, look at Booking.com. Look at Airbnb. These are all people that lead with social proof because it causes us to act in a certain way when we feel that other people have acted. It's also known as the Jones theory. If your neighbor buys a car, the next thing that goes through your head is, hey, maybe we should buy a car as well. These are all principles that you've got to understand, and you've got to find a way to weave it into your message, into your story, into your business, and lead with them so far. So number one, we've spoken about likability, we've spoken about reciprocity, we've spoken about social proof, and we've touched on authority as well. One of the other ones that I really like is scarcity. Scarcity is being able to create an understanding to your clients that there is a time period in which the offer stands. Now, a lot of people don't really get excited about scarcity, but it's a very, very viable and important part of your business. If people believe that your offer is available for the next 25 years, then it means they will purchase in 25 years, which means you don't have the money or the income to pay your bills and pay your staff tomorrow. So there has to be scarcity, as long as it's genuine scarcity, which leads you to be completely honest. So if you say, I'm making an offer and it's only available for 1 week, then make sure it's only available for 1 week. You've got to start to understand the psychology of why scarcity is so powerful. Because we deem and we put more value on things that we believe are not so readily available. And that's why we call these things rare diamonds. And rare diamonds are known as gems, and they're known as, as things that we really want and we do anything to get. Why is a diamond one of the most precious or one of the most important or one of the most coveted things ever? Because it's not readily available. And that's how you've got to speak and treat your clients, your customers, your investors. But you've got to lead with confidence when you're doing that. And the last one that he talks about is something called commitment and consistency. Now, this might be a little bit more difficult for someone who's not new, who hasn't got much sales experience, because it requires you to be confident with it. Commitment and consistency is getting your clients to make incremental commitments. So getting them to say yes, getting them to agree with you, getting them one step closer in the sales cycle. And as they make more commitments, they stand to be more consistent with that commitment. So this works in twofold. What you don't want to do is to take your customers or your clients down the line of they make up their mind and they say this product is not for me. And then they start looking for ways to become consistent with that thought or that belief. So your job is to make sure you are pushing it in one direction or directing them in a specific way in which you want them to go, and then add on top to make sure they become consistent with it. But again, pick up the book, guys. It's an incredible book that's added so much money to so many people's pocket, and there are so many people that vouch for this book, and I vouch for it as well. It's quite a big book to digest. So what I suggest is over the next 3 months, you should read it. Digest a chapter a month. If you have to digest half a chapter, do whatever you need to do to get this book. I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.